Good morning, folks. We're back out of Dad's shop and I got another kerosene lantern to work on out here today. We're going to do the first part of this video today because I'm going to have to seal the fount on this poor old thing. It's a crusty old Berger. An old Berger bale lift. We'll get the camera in here a little closer and show you what that is. If you look at the bale on the top, it's got this weird loop in there that connects to these two rods going down the side of the lantern. And when you push the bale back that way, nothing happens. It just folds down, so you can have the bale folded down. But if you pull the bale forward, the bale lifts the glass of the lantern so you can get in there to light it. Pretty neat idea. I got this lantern at the same auction where I got the, what was the last lantern that I worked on from there? The Winfield glass fount. Yep. Same auction where I got that, and I got one more lantern there that also I'm going to do a video on eventually. This poor old thing is crusty and dirty, and the bottom of the fount's cracked, but that part of the fount is not the actual tank. We'll flip it up here and show you. There's a seam around here, so I'm not worried about these cracks because they aren't in the actual fount. But what is in the actual fount is that hole right there rusted through it. The rest of the bottom looks okay. It's kind of crusty over here, but I'm not going to get carried away cleaning this up. I really like the way it looks. I'm going to get some brake parts cleaner out here, spray it down, and kind of scrub the loose dirt off of there. So I'm not going to get real carried away with it. It's got a really nice embry globe in it, and I was telling Dad I do not have an embry lantern that needs that globe. If I had one I would swap it out, but I don't have an embry that needs that nice embossed globe, so I'll just leave that globe in here for now. I'm sure eventually someday I'll come up with a embry lantern that needs that globe. And I think that globe's a little too short for this lantern actually, because when you start to lift it rises right up in there and makes good contact, but then when you bring it down all the way it really doesn't. Let's see, I think I can lift up independent. Yeah, I can get that up and get the globe out of there. I can probably bend these, the little wires up here, bend them down a little bit to make them fit a little snugger around the top of that globe. So the first thing I'm going to do, spray this down with some brake parts cleaner, scuff it down with that old piece of Scotch-Brite that's around here just to get the loose dirt off of it and rinse it off. Then we'll pull it apart and see what we're going to have to do to seal this fount. Alright, I sprayed it down. There's still a little loose stuff on here. I'm going to knock off with this piece of Scotch-Brite. I don't know what that is. There's a chunk of something stuck on there. It didn't want to come off. Okay, I sprayed it all down, letting it dry. I'm gonna pull the fuel cap off. It came off easy. got a tiny little fuel cap. I've been on a run of lanterns with tiny little fuel caps on them, that's for sure. It is crusty looking inside. I don't think my bore scope would even fit down in there, but it's kind of nasty looking on the inside. I think I'm gonna pop it apart and take the burner out of it and put some denatured alcohol in there and swish it around a little bit, because it is, ooh man, I wonder if they were burning diesel fuel or something in it, because that is a mess and that wick is nasty looking. I think we got a wick that'll fit in there.
Probably do.
I got something I can make work, but that, ugh, it's all sticky.
Yeah.
And that's why I was looking down inside the fount. I guess I could get the bore scope down the center hole. I don't think it'll fit down the fill hole, but it'll fit down the hole where the wick was going in there. Look inside of there, but it is nasty. Don't forget to start recording. I did that once. Let's look down in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's another old wick laying in the bottom there that's just like glued to the bottom. That is pretty nasty in there. Let's see if we can look around the corner in there a little bit. Get this down in there a little better. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but we're going to get some denatured alcohol in there and see. I guess I can fit it down that hole too. See if we can clean that up any. That's a mess. I've never seen one that bad. We'll pour some denatured alcohol in there and slosh it around and dump it out a few times. I think before I do that, I'm just going to put a piece of tape over that hole so it doesn't run back out as fast as I pour it in there. I think it is.
Yep, I guess it is.
Okay, well I should have recorded that because Dad and I just spent 10 minutes trying to get a wick out of there. This is the other wick that was down in the bottom. And we were holding it upside down, trying to get in there with pliers and shining lights in there, and fought, but we finally did get it out of there. I've rinsed it. I used Coleman fuel 3 or 4 times until it was coming out pretty clear. Then I rinsed it a couple more times with the denatured alcohol again. But there are, yeah, at least 5 holes. Once I got rinsed, and more holes just kept showing up. So I think I'm gonna let this sit and dry for a few more minutes, and maybe we'll get the blow gun, blow some air through there, try to get that dried out. We'll put tape over all the holes that I see. Actually, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's at least 8 holes, and a couple of them you can see they're pretty good size. So I'm going to be trying, on the Lantern Facebook group, everybody says seal all is the way to go. So I'm going to squeeze a tube of seal all in there and just work it around so it coats all the inside. And then I'll leave it set here in the shop where it'll be warm till tomorrow and it'll pool more in the bottom, obviously, because that's what'll be down once it's set down. So let it get a thicker coat on the bottom. But we'll let this dry until the inside of the fount's dry before we put that seal all in there. While we're doing that, I'll get this nasty old wick out of here. Everything's sticky. I don't know what in the heck they burned in this thing, but it was not good, that's for sure. People burn all kinds of stuff in these. Diesel fuel, vegetable oil. Back in the day, if you didn't have kerosene, you'd burn whatever you could burn in it. If this is your light source and all you had was some kind of vegetable oil or something, that's what you'd use. I'm going to end up using this whole rest of this can of brake cleaner by the time I get this cleaned up. chunks of stuff down in here. Whatever they were burning, it was definitely getting gobs of it on the wick, and they were cleaning it off. There we go. That's much better. We got a wick that we pulled out of another lantern fount that wasn't full of nasty old fuel residue like this one was. So we'll put that wick in here and trim it off straight across. Leo's gonna tear all the stuffing out of a cardboard box over there now.
After that foam.
Yeah, just get out of there, Leo. Hey, gather. You don't need that. Alrighty. Blew the air hose through there until it was good and dry inside the fount. I am gonna stick some pieces of tape back over that again. I don't know if they'll hold much better, but maybe at least stop this seal all from running right through. This will be a good test for this stuff. If it holds up to this and we know it works good.
Yep.
I might, tomorrow after this is dry, when I peel this tape off of there, I might mix up a little bit of JB Weld and just put a very thin coat of JB Weld over the bottom side of this too. It's obviously pretty thin. Now that's a chunk of something. It moves around when you touch it, so. Yep, there's one more I can see right there. Get a little piece over that, and then we'll try this stuff out. Like I said, on the Tubular Lanterns Facebook group, this is a lot of people's go-to sealer. I think tomorrow when I get around to clean this up, I just sprayed a little WD-40 right there and wiped it down with a towel. I think that's what the whole finish of it's going to be.
Yep.
Give it the nice dark brown rusted look. It kind of looks like hell right now from spraying it down with the brake parts cleaner and then having coma fuel and denatured alcohol and all that stuff on it. Alright, I don't know how much of this I'm supposed to use, I guess, since it's not necessarily actually made for sealing lanterns. I feel like I'll probably
put the half a tube.
Yeah, put about half a tube in it. That way, once I get it sloshed around and coated and set it up right, it'll make a thicker coating over the bottom of it.
I opened already, so.
I see that.
It smells like model glue.
Yeah, it's
like for model cars.
It's not as thick as like goop glue. Ooh, yeah, it does. Phew, that does definitely smell like model car glue. I haven't smelled that in a long time.
Nope, me either.
Alright, I'm gonna
put that thing down now, and then you can pour it right down the middle if you're closer to it. Well, that didn't help a lot.
Didn't make a big difference.
No.
I'm just gonna stick it in through there and squeeze about half of this
then you can shine your light in there and
tube in there.
Getting around where it goes. Looks like it's thin enough. It
Leo, leave that box alone. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to be leaving this alone.
Yeah. I was gonna try to get that foam rubber over there and then
thought I was supposed to be eating it, not leaving it alone. There we go. That might be a little more than half actually, but
it should be enough.
All it's got to do is leave a coating in there.
Yep.
Leo, sake, dog.
At least once you get that foam out there.
I know, I might want that
all
foam.
over the floor.
I might want that foam to pack something that I end up shipping one of these
Make you a
days.
nice pillow.
Okay, now I'm just gonna sit here for about 5 minutes, just slowly turning like this, so that stuff has a chance to coat all of the inside. Looks like it runs pretty good. Like looking down, I know you guys on camera won't be able to see it, but looking down through the hole, it looks like it flows pretty well. Okay, I feel like that's got to be pretty sufficient. The tape's holding and nothing's oozing out the bottom yet, but I can shine my light down in there and see that there is a coating. Looks like it's over everything in there, so we'll
try.
Let this sit right here until tomorrow morning, and if we try to fuel it and it leaks, we can rinse it out and put another coat in.
Yep.
Alright folks, we're back. It's not tomorrow like I said, it's actually next week. I came back the next day on last week and stuck my finger down in here, and that seal all was still liquid in there. Now obviously I probably put way more of it in there than I needed, because after it was all done, I'll bet there's probably a 1/16 of an inch layer of it on the bottom. If I had put enough that it just would have put a coating on there, it probably would have dried much quicker. But it's the next week now, and I can stick my finger down in there and feel, and the bottom's dry and the stuff's set up good. So just to be sure, I'm also going to mix up a little JV weld and just put a super thin layer of JV weld over the bottom of this, just to make sure we don't end up with more leaks. The JV weld that we've got here is about 20 years old and was buried at the bottom of our thing with all our glue and stuff in it. I've got regular JV weld, but I wanted some of that's the quick weld that sets up in like 15 minutes. And typically on a fuel tank on something, I would not use the quick weld. I would use the other stuff that takes 24 hours to set. But since this already has that seal all inside, and I'm just putting the JV weld as a extra little coating on the bottom, I'm going to use the quick weld. That way it'll set up quickly. And I don't know if the camera can see it, but you can kind of see the spot where a little bit of that stuff came through to where the tape was there. But yeah, I'm just going to pretty much over the whole bottom of it here, just spread a super thin layer of the JV weld on there. Give it a little better chance to hopefully not leak. So we'll do that first. Then I'll clean this up some more while that JV weld is setting up. There's not very much left in here. This tube has about that much left in it, so it's going to get a super thin coat over the bottom. This tube's got a lot more, but they probably came out of two different kits at two different times, but they're both the JV quick weld, so they should work together. But I'm going to squeeze out as much as what's left in this one, and then the same amount of this, and mix it together, and that's going to be as good as what's going to get. Ooh, goodness. That is... There we go. That's fine. That's fine.
Probably don't need to save that anymore.
No, I think we'll let this one go. I think we'll even let this one go, even though it's going to have a little bit left in it. But since we don't have any more of the hardener to go with it, oh boy, that shouldn't be that hard to squeeze out of there. But it's just already started pre-hardening, that's all.
Yeah.
It's probably going to make it better.
Yeah.
Good God, I can't hardly squeeze hard enough to squeeze it out of the tube.
Might need some pliers.
Wow, that is.
You got it about done there.
Yeah, it is starting to pre-harden in the tube, I think. There, I think that's pretty good. Better work quick. That stuff is already halfway hard, so probably not gonna take it a long time to harden up on me.
Well, this looks pretty clean down here.
Yeah, I think it's good enough. Let me see if I can get it down here where so the camera can still see it here. Just gonna try to make it a kind of a thin light coat over the whole flat area of the bottom of this. I'm not worried about making it perfect because the rest of this lantern is definitely not perfect. She's beat up. Definitely seen its better days, but I think it's still gonna
Held up again.
work and bring it back to life. I probably should have scraped that gobbledygook out of there before I started doing this. I was not super prepared, I guess, but there, I'm sure that's plenty good. Try to use a smaller scraper and just get a little bit of it down where it starts to curve around the edges there a little bit. Some of the people in the lantern group are a lot more ambitious than I am, because I've seen some of them that would have cut the bottom out of this and tried to solder a new bottom in, and which is fine, but y'all have seen how good I am at soldering this stuff, so if I was to do that, I could probably cut the bottom out of this and then
Throw it away.
we could throw it away when I wasn't able to solder another bottom back in it.
Or set it on a bench.
Yeah, we don't throw stuff away. Lady at the little consignment kind of antique store, consignment store downtown, I went in there on the night of our Christmas stroll, and she gave me a paper about if we were cleaning stuff out and had stuff we wanted to get rid of to bring down there. And I thought, she obviously doesn't realize that I don't get rid of stuff. Yeah, this is starting to set up already too. Good enough. It's not super pretty, but it'll be fine, and that'll give that bottom of that tank a better chance at hopefully not leaking in the future. I'll try to scrape as much of this off here as I can, and then when it's dry I can hit it with the wire wheel on the grinder again if we have to. There we go. Now, while that stuff's setting up, I'm gonna take, where did it go? I just had a piece of Scotch-Brite here.
Well, I used it, so
Oh,
I wiped off the bottom of the thing. I think I would have just laid it down there.
well, you'd think so, but apparently you threw it away when you were done. Leo's not eating it, so you didn't drop it on the floor.
Oh.
No, you did drop it on the floor. All right. Now, for cleaning the rest of this up while that JB weld is drying, I'm just going to take some WD-40 that, oh, maybe I'm not going to. There we go. It's finally, there's not much pressure left in that WD-40 can apparently, but I'm going to take some of that and start wiping down the rest of this lantern with some WD-40. All right, that looks a little more presentable. JB weld on the bottom is getting hard. I've accidentally stuck my hand in it and it's not sticky anymore.
Good.
That looks a little more presentable. This burner cone, I brought over a plastic bristle brush, but I didn't bring the carb cleaner, but I don't know what they were burning in there, but it is just, everything was sticky and gummy and nasty on this thing.
There's a carb cleaner right there.
Oh, I did bring it over. I knew I had it. I sat it over there. I'm going to spray a little of that through here and try to get this plastic bristle brush down in here and kind of scrub some of the chunks out of there. It literally is, well, here, I'll hold up there. It literally is chunky. There is chunks of debris in there. Whatever they were burning in this thing is the nastiest fuel.
Oh yeah, that had the bad wicks in it too.
Yeah. Nastiest fuel I've seen. But fortunately nothing's destroyed. I think it will work. I didn't show on camera when I blew out the air tubes, but there was chunks of stuff came out of them. It is, I would like to know what they used for fuel. It had to have been like vegetable oil or something odd like that.
Paraffin base
or maybe just diesel oil or some kind of cheap fuel oil. I don't know what it was, but
yep.
that is just about good enough for the burner cone. I don't need to make the burner cone nicer than the rest of the lantern, so. It is a brass cone though. There we go. Pause the camera and go rinse my hands off. Okay, I got one layer off my hands. A little better now. Okay, the JB weld is setting up on the bottom. This poor old thing is about ready to dump a little fuel in and see if I missed a spot and it's just hemorrhaging fuel out of it somewhere. I hope not. If it burns, I will let it burn overnight tonight. I'll hang it up on the hook by the pool up on the pool deck and let it burn all night if it doesn't leak. So let's see, we gotta go this way with the bale to lift that up. Get my funnel stuck in there. I need to buy some kerosene, and I'm going to be driving through a town that's got kerosene at the pump, so I might, on my way, I got to go to one of the kids' basketball games tonight, but maybe on the way there I'll just take my kerosene cans in the trunk of the car and stop and fill up my kerosene cans, because I am out at home. Let's see how full that is. I'd just as soon not run it all over. Yep, that's pretty full. That's full enough. It's about a 1/4 inch from running out the top, so I would say that's good.
I don't see you running out from underneath it yet.
Not yet. Oh, let's shut that back off until we're done recording. Leo's making enough noise. We don't need more extra noise in the background. There's the cap. There we go. Well, I'll tell you what, it appears it's holding. I was afraid there could even possibly be a pinhole somewhere around the sides up there, but I don't see anything coming out. And when I hold it up here, well, other than the fact that I can't see anything because that bright light up there, but I don't see anything. It looks like it's
not leaving anything on the table.
Yeah, it's certainly not leaking quickly. No, it looks good. I think the seal all did its job, and having that JB weld on the bottom there will just be a little bit extra protection. Now, I was telling Dad, once I'm at home and after I've burned a tank of fuel through this thing and get ready to hang it up, I probably will. I've got a chain with a hook that's hanging off of a tree limb out in my backyard that I hang lanterns on in the summertime, and I'll probably just hang it on that, take the glass back out and spray the whole thing down with WD-40 and just let it sit there and drip dry, and then that's how I'll hang it up in the rafters of the garage so that it will have a good coating of oil over it to protect it. He was making some weird noises over there. He's got to be tired of chewing on that bone. We've been here for close to 2 hours now. All right, we'll put this embry glass back in there. Okay, I can flip the bale down, then the bale is out of the way. It leaves the bottom plate in the down position when you flip it that way. And I can raise that up. I did bend those wires that hold the top of this in, bend them down a little bit more so that they push a little harder to hold the top of this globe in. And then when I flip it and try to get it where the camera can see what's going on, when I flip it and go that way, I raise the bail, or flip the bail down and it raises the glass so you can get in there to light it. Flip it down that way, it leaves it down, or you can have it straight up to hang it up and it leaves it in the down position. Pretty neat lift mechanism. Now I try to bend these top wires just a little bit more. So that they are a little bit tighter around the top of this globe. There we go. I like that better. Now the wire is actually sitting right on the top of the glass instead of coming down over the edges. Well, we'll give it a couple more minutes. I didn't pre-soak the wick on this, so we'll have to give it just a couple of minutes to soak the wick up. And then we'll give this thing a light up, see if it'll burn. Cap doesn't seem like it's, no, it's not screwed down on there correct. I thought it looked funny and it didn't seem like it threaded down on there very far. There's what looks like old solder inside of there, and that cap bung is, oh, now it's threading, yeah, now it's turned down on there several turns. That cap bung is soldered to the top of here, and it looks like a glob of solder in there, but it must be down far enough that the cap just comes down and hits against it, because it threaded down now and seated just like it's supposed to. Wasn't quite where it should have been before. Well, that wick looks wet in there, so I think we're good enough to go ahead and light it up too. It does need cranked up a little bit. It's barely sticking through there. Get the camera in here a little bit closer for lighting it up here. Well, let's see what happens. That looks nice. Like I often say, the shape of that flame will even out a little bit. When you trim the wick, it's hard to not have a little bit of a flare on one side, but usually after they burn for a few hours, they even out pretty nice. But that's nice. That's got a nice fan-shaped flame, so I know my air tubes aren't plugged up and it's letting it draft good. Let's get the camera around here this way. Pretty decent looking old lantern, even though it's rough. That bottom, these are kind of prone to doing that. I've seen other ones that people posted and how they fixed it, but that bottom, it just split because it's just a thin rim of metal around there. But I like it. I don't want to change it at all. I like the ones that show that they're 100 years old. That's the way I like them. Alright, that's it for out here at the shop. I will get a shot of this tonight. Let's see. I don't know if it'll be dark before I leave to go to the basketball game tonight, but it'll definitely be dark when I get back. So we'll light it up before I leave tonight, and then we'll check on it when I get back home. Okay, folks, we're out in the backyard at home. I got the old Berger lantern out here hanging up on the hook up on the pool deck. I'm going to let it hang up here and burn all night tonight. You know the drill. If you are enjoying the content we're putting out and you want to help support our channel, the best thing you can do to help support our channel is when those ads come up, just let them play. If it's a long ad over 30 seconds, just watch the first 30 seconds of it. That's enough to make it count. Please hit the like and the subscribe button. Leave a comment. Share the video. And come on back next week. We'll have a video of something here for you to watch.